Well, extreme MAGA Republicans have suffered a brutal humiliation after the long-awaited release of more January 6th security footage didn't quite prove what they were hoping that it would. You know, it's funny, Republicans keep insisting that they just want to move past January 6th. They'll say, oh, why do liberals keep bringing it up? It was just one day. Now, of course, I've explained in the past, and I'll do so again in this video, why it represented something so much more than that. But even so, they keep contradicting their own claims about wanting to move on by perpetuating these bonkers conspiracy theories about January 6th that then necessitates a conversation about it. And in a sense, the fact that they keep doing this, desperately trying to rewrite what January 6th was, shows they understand how badly it represents the modern Republican Party, even though they pretend otherwise. Well, you might remember a while ago, they started calling for all of the security footage from January 6th to be released so that they could prove that January 6th was actually Nancy Pelosi's fault or something, or FBI agents pretended to be Trump supporters so they could provoke other Trump supporters to do things that would make them look bad. And there was that point in time when Kevin McCarthy released a bunch of footage to Tucker Carlson when he was still at Fox News, and Tucker Carlson shockingly found nothing and then pretended like he was going to do y'all remember this? He pretended like he was going to do multiple days of coverage on all these bombshells, then did like a day and it was a flop and then gave up. Well, Republicans, I guess, wanted round 2 of the humiliation, so they've been begging new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, to release more of the footage, and he did. And once again, nothing of note was uncovered. We all know what happened that day. Release all the footage that you'd like. Nothing is going to change that. But out of desperation, they're pretending like they did find stuff and declaring victory, which is what I want to go over. By the way, in case you're wondering, the reason why just releasing all footage from the Capitol from that day isn't a great thing to do is there actually is private information about which places certain politicians went during the emergency and secret exits, tunnels, whatever it might be that you want to keep private. With that being said, so much to go through. We'll get to in just a second. Former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney brutally shutting down Republican Senator Mike Lee and exposing his nonsense as he's trying to perpetuate these conspiracy theories. But first, here was the reaction, so you can get a sense of kind of these individuals pretending like this is a big deal, from a few right-wingers when Mike Johnson announced he'd be releasing more footage from January 6th, starting with Matt Gaetz. He said on X, "You won't always agree with Speaker Johnson, but know this, he won't lie. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Thank you for keeping your word on the January 6 tapes, Mr. Speaker. It's a refreshing thing in the swamp of DC." Then you have a Newsmax host named Eric Bolling who said, "Promises made, promises kept. Speaker Johnson releases January 6th tapes." Then you have some MAGA dude who said, "Just announced Speaker Johnson set to release the January 6th tapes. Raise your hand if you want every single one from the fake January 6th committee arrested for perpetuating a lie that January 6th was an insurrection." Just so deranged. And then another MAGA guy named Steve said, "You know who's being absolutely vindicated tonight? Donald J. Trump. That man has taken everything for us from Democrats, Republicans, and that piece of you-know-what, Jack Smith. The January 6th tapes are proving to the American people that absolutely everyone," and by the way, we're going to get to what they're calling a bombshell, so hold tight for that. It'll make you giggle. "Is after the only man to expose corruption to us. They are literally willing to lock up and kill Americans over their hatred of one man." What is he talking about? Donald J. Trump could have retired peacefully as a billionaire, but he risked absolutely everything to show Americans how corrupt Washington, D.C. is. Oh, he showed us. It was just him. And the corruption is completely revealing itself tonight. America needs a revolution. So some dangerous and detached from reality things being said there. And now let me give you an example of a bombshell that they're referring to. Get ready. Your socks are about to be duly knocked off. This post was sent out on X from a January 6th rioter named Derek Evans. And he said, "This was sent to me. Is this person flashing a badge? If so, this would prove there were undercover federal agents disguised as MAGA. I was thrown in solitary confinement for peacefully protesting. I just want the truth to be known. Please retweet so we can get the truth either way. And for our podcast listeners, I'll describe the video that we're putting up on screen. It is the attachment to this X post. It's a Trump guy in the Capitol holding something in his hand, and the security camera is picking it up. Derek Evans is asserting that it may be a badge, and they were right all along. The FBI had done a false flag operation to make Trump supporters look bad. I never understand that that's the ultimate goal, but I guess it is. Well, before I tell you what actually was in his hand, here is Republican Senator Mike Lee taking this very seriously. He said on X, "I can't wait to ask FBI Director Christopher Wray about this at our next oversight hearing. I predict that, as always, his answers will be 97% information free." So I guess the Republican Christopher Wray is going to lie because he knows it wasn't Trump calling on a mob to prevent the peaceful transfer of power that caused January 6th, but instead the FBI or Antifa that did all of this to frame Trump. In reality, the guy in the video is named Kevin Leons, and he was sentenced to 51 months in prison for his actions on January 6th. And he wasn't holding a badge, he's carrying a vape. A vape and a photograph and wallet stolen from Pelosi's office. The photograph and wallet, not the vape. And then here's another shot that day we can see him carrying the same vape. Oops. So I guess my advice to Mike Lee would be do a little fact checking before perpetuating dangerous nonsense about that day. And former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney called him out in perfect fashion for it on X. "You're a lawyer, Mike. You're capable of understanding the scores of January 6 verdicts and rulings in our federal courts. You didn't object to electors on January 6 because you knew what Trump was doing was unconstitutional, and you know what you're doing now is wrong." And she also said in response to a different post of his, "Hey, based Mike Lee, heads up, a nutball conspiracy theorist appears to be posting from your account," which is a fantastic thing to say in response. Also, based Mike Lee, that's his username. That's weird. And then she sent a post saying, "Here's some January 6 footage for you," and attached this.
Multiple capital injuries. Multiple capital injuries.
So you have these two contradicting narratives. It was the FBI provoking Trump supporters to attack the Capitol so they could lock him up and blame Trump. Oh, and also it was peaceful and not a big deal, which both, of course, are absurd assertions, but they sort of contradict. And as if I have to say this again, what makes January 6th so important? The sitting president of the United States at that moment in time was trying to potentially illegally, what he's now being prosecuted for, hold on to power despite losing. You've heard me say it so many times. He put together a group of fraudulent electors to try to do this. He pressured Mike Pence to refuse to do his constitutional role. He tried to get local election officials to fraudulently just find votes and declare him the winner of states he lost. And then when all those things didn't work, he provoked a mob to attack the Capitol to prevent the lawful certification of the election. If Trump had been successful in his efforts and was able to hold on to power despite losing, as he was telling those around him that he was trying to do, we would have watched American democracy die. When one person wins an election, but the other just stays president, you no longer are abiding by a democratic process, and that's what Trump wanted to do. So people like Mike Lee want to distract from that by spreading nonsense like this. He knows how horribly Trump's anti-democratic efforts reflect on the GOP and how January 6th represents that in a very visual way. So he's doing what he can to distract. And it also seems like people such as Mike Lee are desperately trying to stay relevant within MAGA by jumping on these conspiracy theory bandwagons. It's the only way to stay in the good graces of that movement is to throw nonsense out like this. And it's pretty dang shameful, I have to say. And really, it's important to keep in mind, at the end of the day, this is all in service of the dear leader, Donald Trump, who spoke in Fort Dodge, Iowa over the weekend. I was there. You can check out my interviews with Trump supporters from that event on the YouTube channel. It was wild. And the speech from Trump was also very wild and bizarre. And as you're watching the clips that we're about to watch, just keep in mind, this guy is the person who was able to take over the Republican Party and turn people like Mike Lee into dignity bliss purveyors of nonsense conspiracy theories. The Republican Party repeatedly embarrasses itself for this guy, for some reason, who's talking about reading pictures in a book.
Something that's great. They want me to tell you to go out and sign up. We have a book here, beautiful book. Look at this book, how beautiful that is, see? You read pictures, but it basically is you sign up and you become a caucus.
And you also have him wanting everyone to know he's not into golden showers, which is, of course, when you get peed on for fun.
A persecution of a political candidate. They see it as a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. That's what it is. This is the greatest witch hunt. It started with Russia. Remember that? He was with 4 hookers. You think that was good that night to go up and tell my wife, it's not true, darling, I love you very much? It's not true. Actually, that one she didn't believe because she said he's a germaphobe. He's not into that, you know? He's not into golden showers, as they say they call it. He's not. I don't like that idea. No, I didn't. I thought that would be a big problem. I was going to have a rough night, but that one she was very good on. She said, no, you're okay on that one.
What a weird world we're in. And then it's not a Trump speech without him getting bizarrely obsessed with how much he wishes he was Xi Jinping, the president of China.
To do. He walked up with a man who looks like a piece of granite, right? He's strong like granite. He's strong. I know him very well. President Xi of China. And he's standing there. You know, he's a fierce person. Now, the press doesn't like it when I say good things about, but, you know, what can I say? He runs 1.4 billion people with an iron hand. And they say, oh, he said good things about him. No, he happens to be a very smart person. If I say a certain leader is smart, that's controlling a big part of the world, the press gets upset that I say smart because that's a good thing. No, very smart people. These are very smart people, but they're dealing with very stupid people. Our leader is a stupid person. Our leader.
It's honestly become an unhealthy fixation. He can't get through one speech without going off about how much Xi Jinping is strong and fierce and smart. Oh, he's so smart. I think someone has a crush, gotta be honest. Of course, the reason, in reality, he says all those things is because he wishes he could have that sort of authoritarian power that Xi Jinping does have. Because Xi Jinping does have that, Trump is super impressed with him and thinks very highly of the guy. And finally, you have this.
I'm being indicted for you, it's true. If I didn't run, I wouldn't be indicted. They're indicting me for complaining about election results. They're complaining that I was complaining, and it happens to be true. We have the facts, we have the figures, and I hope the judges are going to allow that to be shown in court because those elections were rigged.
Of course, Trump is not being indicted for saying the election was stolen. He's being indicted for all of his actions trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. If you watch me on a regular basis, you've heard that so many times. It probably gets annoying. His attempts to disenfranchise voters, etc. But it doesn't matter. His followers eat it up, and so he keeps on saying it. Plus, it's honestly hilarious that he's acting like he's going to resolve his legal cases by going into court and proving the election was stolen. And in a sense, I do want him to try that just so we can all watch it go down in flames epically. Before you go, don't forget to become a member at lukebeasleyshow.com/membership to get access to the daily bonus show Monday through Friday exclusively for our members, and things like extra interviews with Trump supporters that I release over the weekend. Plus, follow me on Threads at LukeBeasOfficial, Instagram at LukeBeasOfficial, X at LukePBeasley, and sign up for the Beasley Brief, a daily morning newsletter that summarizes the previous day's events by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/brief, and I'll talk to you all next time.